Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to F1 2020 MyTeam Principal, episode number 8. We're into season number 2. 3 races in. Struggled early in the season. We haven't scored any points yet. The other teams definitely outdeveloped us over the stretch of the final part of season 1, and they even covered off their parts better than we were able to heading into season 2. And we were the only team to go backwards, which was really surprising considering the tons of points that we spent on covering the aero and engine parts. We got the engine fully covered, but we lost 3 parts in the aero department, and nobody else in the field had the same problem as we did. So before we head into round 4, we have 2 weeks to set ourselves up, so we've got a little bit of time. We could improve powertrain, durability, both with resource points, some experience, a claim's nice, but I really do like, that's 6 days. I don't have a 3. I could do the 3-3-2. I think that's what we're going to do. Alright, so 3, and 2. We're back up to 6 million now, and that means I can get the chassis or powertrain next level on resource point generation. Pushing both of those to their second level. So not only is morale looking good across the board now, our first round of upgrades are all coming in. We're down to a chassis and durability upgrade remaining. That means both aero upgrades and our major engine upgrade have all come through, and successfully opening the doorway for the next round of upgrades. Let's see, engine is currently 3rd, aero is currently 4th. Fuel or ERS or a minor engine upgrade. You know, let's go with the minor engine upgrade so that we can go both directions. So we're going to get that minor engine upgrade, and then we're also going to go down into the aero department and cover off that last upgrade from last season. So this will make all 3 upgrades from last season recovered and put us right back where we were at the end of the season. We've had a pretty bad rate of success so far this season. Of course, percentages do indicate that there is going to be some failure. We really have not invested much in getting these things right the first time, but a bit unlucky to have both our chassis and durability upgrades that equally had about a 40% chance of failure. Wouldn't be surprised from that if one of them failed, but 40% chance to each of 2 parts and both failing is pretty bad. Plus we already had a failure in one of our 3 previous parts. So that's 3 out of 5 upgrades have failed thus far this season, and that's way worse than what the odds suggest. The chassis upgrade for me is way more important, so we're going to cover that one off first. It'll be ready by our next race. 172 is not enough to get that durability one, but we will get to it soon enough. Round 4 of the Chinese Grand Prix. Hamilton finally chips into Bottas's lead and Bottas's perfect start to the season. He still gets fastest lap, but Hamilton, after starting on the outside of row 1, finally claims a victory. A 1-2 for Mercedes, actually the first 1-2 we've even seen this season. Vettel gets onto the podium, I believe for the first time for him, maybe the second time. Ocon in the Red Bull is 4th, Verstappen 5th for Renault. We're going to see him cracking that best of the rest, not just best of the rest, but cracking those top 6 positions periodically, I think. Albon 6th, Ricciardo 7th in the Ferrari, Perez 8th for the Racing Point, Stroll also 10th, so Good points for Racing Point this week. McLaren grabs a couple points, and I still have not scored. Leclerc with a really good race result, taking 11th place for the Alfa Romeo. I think we're going to have a real struggle on our hands through the midfield this season. I still have yet to score anything. Calderon down in 21st. The car has improved, so my position improved. And I do think we'll score points. I mean, we're close enough that that's been a thing. But no points scored yet. 16th in the championship. Leclerc is ahead of us. It's a definite struggle with the bottom 4 teams really fighting it out. AlphaTauri, 2 points each for their drivers. Norris, just 2 points for McLaren, but his teammate definitely has more. So here's where the constructors is at this point. Mercedes is running away with this one early. Red Bull is going to have a bit of a struggle with their drivers. Ferrari, well, oh man, this is interesting. It really is. I think Renault is likely to run away with 4th place with Verstappen in one of those seats. They were OP a bit already with Ricciardo, but Verstappen is that much better than Ricciardo that I think they're going to really pull some decent results pretty consistently this year. Racing Point and McLaren are probably going to be battling it out for 5th and 6th, where I do think we are going to challenge AlphaTauri again this season for that 7-8 position, but I have yet to score so far. We'll get there. Heading into the next race weekend, can't look past this. Excellent morale jump and 120 resource points. We'll take it. 4 more days to fill, so we have just a single 3-day item. Or we could take 2 2-day items. Or a single 4-day item. Kind of liking the Team Acclaim plus cash. Powertrain morale's nice, but I don't know. That 4 pace, though, that's what Calderon really needs. We're going to go ahead and invest in that, which will at least give us additional powertrain morale. It's certainly not a bad thing to have. Car getting into the mix with the midfield now, but still definitely on the back end of it. Morale is looking really good right now, so that's nice. I think we can definitely maintain that with the new marketing upgrades that we have. We can really keep morale high within the team, and that could and should help us quite a bit. Now we still have that failed durability upgrade to go back and get. We have no aero upgrades at the moment, so that's probably the next place to look. Can't afford a major, so we only have 2 minors to choose from. Drag reduction and DRS. Let's go ahead and, you know what, let's not do aero this week. We're going to hold off. Let's go ahead and spend the small amount of points here, and we can do a major aero upgrade next week. All the upgrades this time are successful. So as we head into round 5 for the Dutch Grand Prix, I'm excited to see if we're going to finally be able to get up into the points. Really difficult track to pass on, though, this week and the next week. So we'll see what we can do.
So let's review the updated driver standings. Not the result our points leader wanted, but it certainly makes things interesting going forward. It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Meanwhile, good work from the owner drivers team this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for the next one.
So we're in Zandvoort for the Max Verstappen Grand Prix in the Sea of Orange. And yes, wow, we finally got into the points. And not only did we get into the points, but Juju Noda takes it all the way up to 5th place. Is that the strength of the aero package that made that happen? As that is a real strong suit for us, along with pretty good engine. Chassis is the one that's really lagging behind right now. Hamilton again takes the win away from Bottas, so he's catching back up. He also claims fastest lap this time. Ocon in third, Albon fourth. I claim fifth place with Juju Noda. Vettel takes sixth ahead of Stroll, Verstappen, Perez. Ricciardo, after starting third, finishes all the way down in 13th, so something went horribly wrong for him. Calderon at just 21st position, started P16, so not bad on that part, but a little ouch in some of these areas. So you see Russell all the way down in 15th, Leclerc 11th, while Matsushita was 19th. A couple of teams kind of all over the place in this one, as the order was pretty spread out. But with my first 10 points, I jumped from, what was it, 16th? All the way up to 9th in the standings. Bottas still leads, and comfortably, 22 points ahead of Lewis Hamilton, because Bottas has finished first or second in every single race so far this season, while Hamilton's had, was it a trio of fourth place finishes? Albon and Ocon pretty close together in third and fourth. Not that far ahead of Vettel, though. Ricciardo quite a ways behind. Verstappen is well clear of the rest, and now we're just 3 points away from, well, not Verstappen, but from best of the rest besides Mr. Sea of Orange himself. And in the Constructors, we jump 2 spots to 7th place with 10 points just like that. All those parts coming through at the same time, and no wonder it was able to get such a strong finish. The team jumps from near bottom of the grid to right down the middle. It is super, super compact through the midfield. Racing Point, a little bit of an edge. Ferrari not much further ahead. And really Red Bull pretty close as well. So it's getting to that point where we could almost squeeze out a podium in the not too distant future. And we were just at the back of the grid moments ago. Hopefully Calderon can also start picking up those performances, getting into the mid-teens. We've developed her racecraft by quite a bit. Still needs a lot of work though, but she should be getting caught up to the likes of Matsushita, Latifi, maybe some others. Every single upgrade we were working on has concluded and succeeded this time around. We've got 2,000 points to spend. We're going to go ahead and pick up a major front downforce upgrade. Gonna take a couple of races to get that done, but that's okay. 54% chance of failure. Yeah, no rush. Go and go with the standard. Still 851. Chassis, the big area that really needs some work, so I think we're going to have to go with the tire wear upgrade. Another win for Bottas is going to pull him further away from Hamilton. At least he claims second. Albon gets third. No change in the order on those 3 on the podium, but Esteban Ocon takes 4th place after starting 12th. It's a good result for him. The Ferraris are 5-6. Verstappen again best of the rest. No points for me today, just a 14th place finish. Leclerc starts dead last, and he gets up to 12th, doing better than I was able to do in this one after he took a penalty. So Leclerc really getting the most out of that Alfa Romeo and showing just how great of a driver he is. And I think I'm going to have to battle with that a lot. Alfa, not terribly good car, but you can see how my AI compares to that of Leclerc. Leclerc is what, a 90 overall, and able to take a pretty weak car. I think the fourth weakest car. Actually, it's quite similar to ours. So I've got to be a high 80s on the behind the scenes AI for my driver. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Calderon, meanwhile, 18th place, again starting in 16th, beating both Williams, one Alpha and one Haas car. Getting closer and closer and closer to really being in the mix and getting what she should out of the car. So meaning, I think she's right on the verge of pushing into the mid-teens. Right there. So really close now. 8 days before we head to Monaco. And again, my investment of Calderon continues. So there's our first 3 days going there. 2 days going there. We're going to get her the max that we can. Durability, no point on that one. I have 3 days remaining. Chassis upgrade, 120 resource points is definitely nice. Team acclaim or driver acclaim and cash. Yeah, I like that one. We'll take that one. A little bit for ourselves as well. So we focus on the drivers this time. We are back up over 6 million, which means I can get our next resource point generation upgrade completed. 6 million here from chassis department. After that comes durability. And then we'll kind of reassess at that point what would be the next thing to go with. I just realized that our powertrain went straight to Spec 2 because we got a second tier upgrade without having to go through fabrication, build time, or quality control. It's good to know. I did not expect that to happen. Car's still right down the middle. We have 2 upgrades on the way. But I think both are going to be due after the current race, which is Monaco, the crown jewel. I'm going to go ahead and go with a minor engine upgrade. Working on the crankshaft. First part change. This far into the season, Monaco, we finally go for an ICE update. Everything else has held out this far. Even the gearbox, just 36% wear, so we'll be able to continue on with it through Monaco. 20 laps around Circuit de Monaco is not an easy task to try to get through the field. Despite that, I do manage to get into the points. A 9th place finish, where I finish a 1/10 of a second behind Sebastian Vettel, who started 3rd. So I almost reached the front of the grid, or at least the front of the grid almost reached me, and I almost reached it as we met in the middle. Really good result, I'd say, considering how difficult passes are here. Bottas, though, wins again. Hamilton does grab best lap and finish 2nd, but another Bottas victory is looking more and more likely that he could be grabbing championship number 2. Of course, there's still 2/3 of the season to go, but that's a lot of races already behind us, and a pretty strong lead from Bottas, at least at this point. And he still has not finished a race outside of the top 2 this season. Ricciardo claims 3rd ahead of Ocon and Albon. Russell, excellent result in 6th place. His teammate Verstappen only grabbing 10th himself. And my teammate is getting into that mix. Calderon, again, starting 16th. I think that's her 3rd race in a row, where after 2 straight 18th place finishes, she now stays a spot higher, 17th. The only position she lost essentially was that of myself moving up through the order, though she did swap places with Magnussen and Matsushita and Gasly, and who else? Verstappen. Verstappen started 18th. Okay, no wonder he was so far down the order. So my 2nd points paying position of the season, completing our main sponsor objective, which I'm going to look to a different main sponsor for next season. And we are now 6th level on points with McLaren. So McLaren, who had 10 points a while back, still only at 12 at this point. So McLaren really struggling to score. And you can really see separation of kind of a top 5 right now, with Renault and Racing Point really grabbing the bulk of the points outside of those top 6 cars. The rest of us fighting for scraps to just occasionally get into the mix. 9 days to fill before we head to Azerbaijan for another street circuit. Where to go with this one, though, is a little tricky. That does add up to 9 right there. A 3-day looking like a likely filler, but not necessarily. A lot of team acclaim, a little bit of cash. Awareness for Calderon. It's kind of the only thing outside of that mix that's jumping out at me, besides maybe a chassis. And that's 5. Well then, let's take those 5. And then choose, actually we could choose this pair, which the Aero Morale really not helping much, or choose one of these. Team Morale, Team Acclaim, and Cash, much better than Personal Acclaim, so we'll take that. Chassis is definitely what's lacking behind still. We're well below the midfield here, where we're starting to get pretty strong in some other areas. So I think an engine cover weight reduction would be very helpful to us, and so we're going to go ahead and get started on this one. 65% chance of failure if we go that direction. But even at 40% chance of failure, you got to figure that that's probably going to fail anyway, right? And then we have to wait even longer. So, do we make it an almost certainty? Both the aero and engine upgrades fail us. We don't have the points to recover both of them, but we do have enough to recover the minor one, though it's going to be next week before that's done. Game continues to surprise. There is an evolution in the AI of the drivers, and I wonder if the age of Raikkonen and Vettel and Hamilton has impacted their drivers' AI, because Bottas again wins. Hamilton goes from 2nd down to 5th in this race. Though here is Vettel with a rare podium, but none of those guys are doing what they used to. Raikkonen lost his job entirely when he was clearly one of the better drivers still, even in his late 30s. It does appear that Leclerc, Albon has been much more consistent, though today he was only 13th, real struggle. Ocon only 8th, so Red Bull way off the pace here. But we've seen that in Azerbaijan before, with Ricciardo coming into Verstappen, and then everybody blaming Verstappen at that point, though now he's gone from reviled to a much beloved driver since that accident had occurred, as he has grown and developed and doesn't make those silly mistakes anymore. But I certainly thought Ricciardo was 60-40 to blame on that accident, though most of the comments would suggest that about 90% of people thought it was on Verstappen. But anyway, that's in the past. And so is Vettel and his ridiculous driving into Hamilton under the safety car and not being immediately black flagged. Yeah, that was an interesting one. But anyway, I digress. Juju Noda up into 7th place, 3rd time in the points this season, another 6 for us. So good result there. Still only 3rd place out of those midfield cars, though. Another strong run by Leclerc, but Matsushita also all the way up to 15th for him, right behind his teammate. Calderon back down into 20th in this race, but only 26 seconds behind him. It's not like it's a huge gap. This was not a 40, 50 second kind of gap. Field was pretty compact, and I was less than 6 seconds behind Bottas at the finish of this race. Scooted back up the order to 9th place now. Perez is 10 points ahead. Verstappen way ahead. Really cleaning up that best of the rest status this year with just a ridiculously strong AI. And despite Leclerc's best efforts, multiple 11th place finishes, he still has not managed to get into the points. Been unfortunate for him, and Calderon still only 20th when it comes to best finish of the year. And the teams are pretty stacked up at this point in order outside of my team and the Renaults. But a 51-point lead for Bottas, unless he's got some non-points paying finishes this season, it looks like he could run away with his 2nd straight championship. That is going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like button, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Wear your masks, and bye for now.